I wanted to be the representation I didn't see in the mainstream. And, I identify as transgender. But in the Indian queer space, when you say LGBTQIA+, there's hardly any representation in mainstream cinema or in mainstream performance-based industries. So I definitely think we need to have more representation, and positive representation and correct representation. It shouldn't be tokenism, because that doesn't pay my bills. So I would really appreciate if people took into consideration that these are also stories that you're telling about real people, just like me and my community. So it shouldn't be made the laughing stock, or it shouldn't be used as a caricaturish sort of an portrayal of our community. I would like to believe that Sushant is becoming closer to how fabulous Rani is. I think we underestimate the power of our audiences. We've always done that. And I think that, we can conveniently say this is niche and this is massy. And I would like to just bring to your notice that drag has been a part of Indian culture and the cultural ethos from time immemorial. It's not a new development in our country. It's unfortunate that we didn't claim that space and name it something. We could have named it anything, but the performance art of drag has always been part of our culture. And it's very deep-rooted in our culture, in Indian culture. So right from our kings and queens' palaces and their courts, you saw men performing as women. Right from smaller towns to bigger cities, you still see people performing during our bigger festivals like Diwali and Navratri. You see men performing as women, women performing as men. Even in our classical dance forms like Kathakali and Kuchipudi, Bharatnatyam, you see so many references where people exhibit the opposite gender in a very beautiful way through their art, which is dance or singing and their performance art. So that's all drag. There's a lot of discrimination, and there's a lot of preconceived notions about this vast and beautiful community of people. And people think that trans people are only capable of begging or prostitution or sex work. And I think that needs to change. That mindset needs to change. I have transgender sisters and brothers who are doctors, lawyers, teachers, medical professionals in the corporate spheres. You see people like me who are in the entertainment industry and flourishing. And I think that it's not because our gender is this or that. It's because our talent speaks louder than our gender. For me personally, it was conflicts within myself that I had to deal with. I was scared of coming out as a trans person, not because my family was against it. My family is the most wonderful family. Not a lot of people are as privileged as me to get so much support from their family. And that's why in the queer community, we become each other's family. We have the power to choose families. And I think that that's the beauty of it, So the conflicts might be external, they might be intrinsic, they might be extrinsic, they might be confounding variables to your coming out story. But please believe that you're not alone. I think we also tend to forget that we are the land of Kama Sutra, we're the land of sexual, liberation. And I think that during the colonialization period is when the British could not deal with the fact that we were so advanced in our thoughts and spirituality, and we believed in body, mind, soul, and all of those things, and that we were so sexually evolved that they curbed us, and then they kind of oppressed our sexual, how can I say, sexual freedom. And that's when they created rules like this. Our country has never been disrespectful. It has not been as respectful, but it has never been disrespectful. And they're not dissed us. Like, we have not been hung for being gay. I definitely think there has to be more policies made for transgender women, especially trans women. I'm a trans person. Trans women and trans men have to go through a lot of issues when it comes to even documentation, and there are healthcare, for example. We recently launched the first transgender clinic, all transgender clinic in Hyderabad, with John Hopkins University, and with some absolutely amazing people. So it's like a transgender-led clinic. About now, you have medical professionals who are transgender. There are doctors who are transgender who are handling these clinics. So after a point, you're just like. Uh, they are doing everything. Why aren't we giving them provisions? Why can't we give them basics like education? If you can educate your girl children, you should give education to trans people, because a lot of them are asked to leave their homes when at a very young age, so they don't finish their education. So in a recent post on my social media, I have contributed 50% of my earnings through my tour to transgender education. Now, if one person, now I'm not a billionaire or I'm not a millionaire or whatever, but if I can do my little bit, so we need to make policies. We need to create awareness and advocacy through advocacy and sensitization. But one thing I need people to understand is that the one thing you have to give to people is respect. Please understand that your journey is your journey, but somebody else's journey should not and does not have to be similar or exactly like yours. So respect. I start with respect, I end with respect every interview. So I'm like, please respect. इज्जत देना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है इस दुनिया में. तो आप please इज्जत दीजिए. Please respect the next person who's comes before you or after you, or who's with you. So I think that's all. And then live and let live, love and let love.